Welcome to DevLog 2. Uh, Again, gonna be a bit sporadic because as I did stuff, I just recorded about them. Right, this is just a log of what I've done. Enjoy. What I've done today, so far. We now have healing. So if I kill myself over here, it will heal me back to full. I have made both partial and full heals, but only full heal is used currently. I don't have any healing items. But like that's not complicated, but that's done. I did a lot of just reading my code and making sure I've got my designs, like what I've done, written down. In terms of gameplay tags and things like that. Then I have made it so weapons are now able to add damage. So yeah, this weapon does 20 damage. She still had like 100 health. Not quite how that works. Is that right? No, I have to look, see how that... Well, it probably did multiple ticks. Either way. Yes, we did 20 damage with the sword plus our 1 damage with our attack. I haven't got the maths worked out yet for how I want that to work, but for now it just adds them together. Later I do want some form of scaling based on given stats, but currently we only have attack and defense as our stats. So, and defense is literally useless right now because we don't do anything with that. I will, but we don't yet. What else have I done? Let me get my list up. Yeah, so the more technical side, like a bit more technical side, the weapon now applies the gameplay effect itself rather than what it was previously doing, which was sending a gameplay event, and then I had a component that would listen for those events and then translate that into gameplay effect there. I did this pretty much purely to allow for the damage on the sword to be a bit nicer, and it felt more like it was the responsibility of the sword to do this anyway, right? Not really responsibility of you to damage yourself, right? Yeah, the sword just has a map of gameplay tags that represent damage types to damage amounts, which are all positive. They get inverted before being applied in the system. But yeah, that means any weapon is going to be able to have any combination of damage. Currently, only generic damage is existent, or generic and world damage exists as well, but no weapon will use world damage. That's a decision I've already made because that's for things like hurt volumes and stuff like that. Yeah. Then I did, as I say, a lot of reading, figuring out how all my systems work, how things are going to need to be refactored. Do that. Yeah, that's what I've done so far today. I'll probably either be back later today, like back with more stuff later today or tomorrow. But for you, you'll be in just a moment. So what I've done today, so far today, is move interaction with things away from being hitting. So here we can hit. That is going to represent like pots and things that make sense to respond to you hitting them. Like levers to open doors might also react to this system, whereas this is for NPCs and other things where it doesn't really make sense to have hitting them be your primary mode of interaction, which is just, interact. Don't do this the best currently. We are checking every frame for if there's something that can be interacted with in front, and if that thing isn't us, then isn't if there's something that can be interacted and if that thing isn't interactable in, yeah, uh, what? Yeah, we check in front of us if there's anything that can be interacted with. It's not a very large check. As you can see, if I just kind of turn to the side, that's no longer. You can kind of see how big the check is like that. But yeah, so as long as there's something interactable there, we have an interaction target cached, which is why we would have E to interact on screen. And then we can hit E. But if we don't have that on screen, we can't hit E. I'm hitting it. Doesn't do anything because we've cleared that cache already. The interactable interface also provides a can interact, so they can override your ability to interact with them whenever they need to. So this could be useful for things like you've attacked an enemy and now it's like you've attacked a friendly NPC and now they're fighting back and they don't really want to talk to you now, or someone you've just insulted. Yeah. Yeah. See you in the next segment. So, what I've done, camera goes in front of me. What I have done today is, yeah, we now properly handle healing events being fired. So things are going to be able to listen properly for healing. This will largely be used for stuff, but it says heal up there. Whenever it heals, that's the only way to heal at the moment. We have these, which will be shrines, which are going to be my equivalent to like bonfires and stuff. So currently we only have you press E to interact, and I'll respawn over there now. There will be a menu and everything associated with it later, but for now, I'm just making sure a lot of the fundamental code paths work, and to do this, it's going to be, your pause menu. I'm not sure if we'll actually pause, but it will be that menu for configuring things. I'm definitely going to have to add things like weapons because I need to test those things anyway. Yeah. Yes, as I think I said that I organized my files, so previous section it's just a lot neater now. But I'll still keep up with using this view because it just looks nicer. And that works. I know I mentioned in a previous bit that wasn't working. It had an ability component, so it was listening to things like this does, but it didn't have the correct stats associated with it, so it wasn't actually taking any damage. It didn't have health. So I just changed it to purely use the hit interface I made. So when you hit it, it would then just destroy itself. The system that was previously used for this, before I added the interact system, so that definitely still needs rework. Yeah. See you in the next section. Another update. I have gotten her to attack, which was more annoying than it really should have been. I don't like how I've done it. So currently, I have all of the logic for the swing and passing data around duplicated in a state tree task and a gameplay ability. I would prefer the state tree task to just call the gameplay ability, but that wasn't working, and I wanted to get a basic version of an enemy that can fight back. She can't move yet. That is coming, but right now she can't move. Just sits there and swings the sword forevermore. But it handles all of the stuff correctly. I want to get this working with the one source of this code so that if bugs arise, they can be fixed easier. Yeah. So, see you next time. Trying to work on getting an enemy that can actually fight back. As mentioned in the last bit, she can attack, and now I am having an issue. I'm using the perception system. I'm trying to get her to react correctly to if she can see an enemy, which currently is just attack and not attack. She, clearly updates state correctly here. And if I go over here, then there we go. See here, she can see me. Here, 1, 2, 3. She's forgotten about me. This isn't correctly working with my system. I'm probably doing something wrong. Because if I poke her, but she'll update to the correct system. I'm not sure how to sort this, but I do need to, sort this. Right. So, because preferably what would happen is we go here, and she would, once this circle disappears, she would start attacking again. I'm just using attacking, not attacking as my states to make it easy, so I don't have to run over doing all the other things at the moment. So yeah. Ooh. Yeah. This should make her not attack, and this should make her attack. Moving to not attack state is working, but as soon as like that I hit her, it works. It's unclear. Thank you for watching. I will make another. I'll be back next week with another update on what I've done. Hopefully I have an enemy that actually works. But I'll probably do other things. Uh, you know, I'm a bit all over the place working on these. Yeah. See you next week. And if I don't, have a nice time.